families are all they're very happy, like they understand they prefer a prayer room, obviously, but people weigh up, don't they, when they're choosing a school? Do we want this? Do we not want that? Well, you don't ever like everything about a school, but you choose it because most of what they're offering is what you want. And, but we've always said they could pray in the yard if they wanted to. For 8 years, they never did. And then, last year, during the Ramadan time, a few children decided to pray. And that then grew over days. More and more children were, which is, fine. That's not a problem. And the reason why that's not a problem, and the prayer rooms is because of our strict ethos and our silent corridors and our family lunch, which you'll see is a very specific thing. The children will eat together like a family. They have set roles around the dinner table. We all eat vegetarian food, for instance.
So you saw what looks like segregation and religious intimidation, is that right?
When last year they started praying, over days started increasing. And yes, there was more segregation happening because then they were crowding around that area. And at lunchtime, we very much socialize the children. So if there's a child who's being left out, we bring him into the fold. We make sure that the kids are in mixed groups where children there aren't enclaves being created. And that's something that a multicultural society and country and school, I think we need to think about.
Look, who do you think is behind this? Is it really just the child? You've mentioned external factors. I, like many others, initially thought that perhaps it was the parents. It doesn't sound like that's the case. Who is behind all of this?
A campaign started online, which was demanding prayer rooms, you see, or a prayer room.
So to clarify then, you were allowing them to pray outside and in ever-increasing numbers, and then a campaign started online for a specific prayer room.
Yeah. And, I understand this is people from the outside. I don't know. Certainly all the people who were stirring it up were from the outside.
I.e., not pupils or parents of pupils from the school.
Not pupils here or parents.
So completely external individuals.
Yeah. Thousands who were involved in the petition. Now, this never made it to the main press, you see. So, and we were very grateful for that because we were very worried because we were getting all kinds of death threats and we had a bomb scare. The police had to come and search the school for bombs. We had all kinds of, one of my black teachers was so badly racially abused. She was called the N-word and the C-word and compared to a monkey and all kinds of horrible things.
Is this online then?
This is all online.
Right.
And also emails being sent to the school that we got death threats and the bomb threat and so on. So everyone, you can imagine everyone was terrified. One of my staff had a attempted break-in at her flat. One of my staff had a brick through her window. We had bottles thrown into the yard. And all because of the prayer situation. And so it was horrible. And my staff were terrified. That member of staff who was being attacked, she had to take lifts into school, so did I, because we were worried about her safety. And then also, that was the kind of aggression that was coming from outside. But the inside of the school changed. The culture of the school changed. So during Ramadan, Muslim children, there's a variety of different Muslim children. Some of them want to fast. Some of them do not want to fast. Some of them were praying. Some of them were not praying. We have Muslim children who wear the hijab. Some of them do not. What we found was that one of the girls started wearing hijab. Some of the Muslims who were more devout, as it were standing by the break hole food table and intimidating Muslims who wanted to eat into not eating, or intimidating them into praying. Or one girl who dropped out of the choir because music is haram. Now she'd been in the choir for ages before that, so all of this stuff was, who is going to protect those Muslim children who do not want to do those things? Who's going to protect the staff who are being racially abused, or all of the school community who are getting bomb threats and death threats? that's my job as headmistress. It's also the case that the governors are in charge. So the governors took the sensible decision, in my opinion, to ban prayer.
The criticism of this is that it's barbaric to ban prayer. How would you respond to that?
When people are critical of this and say, well, what about the children who don't want to pray? What about the children who don't want to fast? What about the families who are happy with this? Now, they might say, no, but everybody should be able to do whatever they want. But that isn't the case at our school, right? Our school, we behave very much as a collective. We do not separate children according to race and religion. And our normal, happy, joyful school returned. I mean, that was the other thing that was interesting, is that once prayer stopped, everything returned to normal instantly. You know, all kinds of people have objected to us in the past. They don't like what we do. And I've had to fight all of them. I'm continuing to fight to preserve what we are, because I believe in what we are here. And so do the vast majority of our families and children.
You've mentioned in the past that some children who are British don't necessarily feel British. What do you mean by that?
If all we do is promote what divides us, our different religions, our different ways of life, our different cultures, if that's all we do and all we talk about, then what do we have in common? We've got to find things that we have in common. The thing is, people underestimate the importance of schools. They don't realize that schools socialize children and create the future adults of the country. They are the future to any country. And what we do here, we try and do as best we can, is to make sure that our multicultural environment works and that the children are able to be friends across racial divides, across religious divides, so that they don't look at each other and think, oh, you're a Hindu, oh, you're a Muslim, oh, you're Black Caribbean, oh, you're, we don't think like that. We're just all friends together and we're one big, happy Michaela family. We all need to recognize that all of us need to make sacrifices for the betterment of the whole so that we can all get on, and that schools play such an important part of this. Now, obviously, if your school is one where the children roam the corridors and the children do whatever they like during lunch, then I suppose you might choose to have a prayer room, and that's fine. I'm not suggesting that all schools shouldn't have a prayer room, but I do think that if a school's ethos is such and building is such that they cannot have a prayer room, then they should be allowed to not have a prayer room.
What are you going to do if the High Court rules against you?
Well, they say that, we need to open up the school and have prayer rooms and that we need to abandon our ethos. We would obviously go to the Court of Appeal if that happened.
So you would appeal that?
Yeah.
You'd take that all the way as high as you possibly could? Definitely.
Well, I've always fought for what we are. We've always had people trying to undermine us and stop us from doing what we're doing for a whole variety of different reasons. I've always fought back because I believe in what we're doing. I also believe in our children and our families, and our families would be devastated if we had to lose this school. The idea that's out there, which is, well, you can just have Michaela with a prayer room, that doesn't exist. That's just not possible. So we can have prayer rooms upstairs, but we need to change the whole of Michaela and become a different type of school. Awful. I'm having to support staff right now. They come and see me very frightened. They're really scared. And gosh, last year, my goodness, I mean, that was the worst. It was, it's not right that a head teacher or teachers should be put under that kind of stress, because they're just trying to do their jobs. They love the children. They're here so early in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. They're working till 6 o'clock in the evening. They dedicate so much to the children and to what we do. I know that there was a discussion with regard to Ofsted and whether the suicide of Ruth Perry should change things. Is it right for heads to be put under that kind of stress and scrutiny? And I do think that it's not unreasonable for Ofsted to come into the school as much as it causes stress. But this stress is beyond the stress of Ofsted. It's like nothing else. You can't imagine it. And I don't think it's right that we should have to undergo that. It's not, I feel for my teachers. They're 22, 23 years old, What
happened on the day of the bomb threat then?
well, we got this this email, and they called the police, and then the police came and did a search. And then this was very early in the morning, and so then the children could come in, and we were okay. Yeah, it's scary. I mean, I'm just trying to run my school. That's all I want to do, is run our school. I mean, people say, oh, I'm doing this for, to get in the news. Look, we had a media ban on this. We applied through the courts and we got a media ban. And I was in court on Tuesday morning, desperate for them to keep the media ban, because I didn't want this to be in the media. I think head teachers are under a lot of pressure in all kinds of ways, sometimes from families. My thing is always to hold the line, and that you've got to know what you believe and that you've got to fight for it. But I do understand, the pressures that heads are under and that teachers are under, that it can be very difficult to do that.
You speak very passionately about the multicultural school and this multicultural country and it's surviving and thriving. How important is this case when it comes to that?
I think that all of us should give thought to how multiculturalism can work. What I find is that the left say, well, multiculturalism, everybody's free, do whatever you want, isn't it great? The right say, multiculturalism's failed, there's nothing we can do about it. And I'm saying, look, we're all in this together. We can, if we say it's failed and then throw our hands up, well, let's all jump off Tower Bridge. I think the left, when they say, oh, everybody do whatever you like, isn't it wonderful, are just being a bit blind. I think that we all need to actively try and encourage multiculturalism and encourage children to be friends across racial and religious divides. Now, that will look differently in different schools. I get that. I'm not saying everybody needs to do what we're doing. But I do think everybody needs to take an active approach to it, as opposed to this more libertarian position, which is everybody's free, just do whatever you like. Because that won't create a harmonious society and a country that can succeed with people who have different cultures and different religions and different races and so on.